WROK.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Schmidt along with producer Tom Warner. Matt Nestor has the day off. Let's hop right into it. We're going to take a trip from girls basketball to boys basketball right now. And we have with us the new head boys basketball coach at Boylan, Brett McAllister. And, Coach, thanks for coming on today. And I bet you've had a busy summer so far.
Good morning, Dave. Thanks so much for having me. Yes, it was quite a busy June for us at Boylan. But thanks so much for having me again, and thanks for all you do for high school sports.
Well, I appreciate you doing this because I know you're kind of on vacation today. But let's look at that Boylan job. You know, I remember when Mike Winters took it, the first thing I said to him, when you take over the Boylan job, it's kind of like that Notre Dame job. Everybody's got their eyes on that Boylan basketball program. You think about it, Dolph Stanley's been there, Mike's been there, Steve Goers has been there. I mean, there's a pretty big basketball tradition at Boylan. That's got to be something that you got to deal with right away as a new head coach, isn't it?
It is, and you know, I'm so honored and humbled to be named the 7th head coach. When you think about it, there's only been 7 head coaches of the Boylan program, which is pretty special in itself. But also, you know, I had the opportunity to coach with Steve for his last 2 years, and then I've been with Mike for the last 5. So being around the program the last 7, I know what it means to the community and to the Boylan people. It's definitely a special honor for me to take on this position.
Did you know when you're around guys like, I mean, Steve Goers has the second most wins in the state of Illinois. Mike just got his 300th win. You pick up a lot of stuff off the bench, especially as a sophomore coach, because you're on there during the varsity games. How much did that help just to sit there and kind of observe during that whole process to get you ready for this job?
That no doubt has been huge for kind of my maturation as a coach. Being around Steve his last 2 years, just learning so much. I mean, Jack McCarthy, who's a relative of mine, got me in contact with Steve, and, you know, I didn't know a whole lot about Boylan as a whole. I'm from Barrington, Illinois, so I didn't know the whole story behind Steve and how many wins he had and the prestige of Boylan. And then I found out my first year that the guy that I'm working for has over 800 wins. It kind of humbles you real quick. But also just, you know, learning, you know, small things from Mike day in and day out over the course of our 5 years together. There's just so much that you pick up on, and, you know, once I got into this position, you start reflecting back and thinking, oh, how did Mike do this, or how did Steve handle this situation as they start to come up already this summer.
You know, and one of the things I know, I mean, I think this is your first varsity job, and it's a high-profile one. I think it's a lot different from just being the sophomore coach or an assistant of some kind, because all of a sudden, everything's put on your shoulders. Has that been an adjustment? Plus, media guys like us bugging you all the time.
It's been a little bit of an adjustment, no doubt about it. When you move that kind of 6 inches over to that new seat, there's definitely a new set of things that you have to deal with right off the bat. I will say I have been running summers. I did a lot under Mike and Steve at Boylan, and also my 2 years at Barrington. So from that aspect, you know, the summer's been relatively easy in terms of understanding what needs to take place and running our Fight and Titan camps and then going at night to play our shootout games and all that stuff. But there's definitely an adjustment, and there's going to be things throughout this first season that, you know, as a first-time head coach, it's going to come up, and there'll be situations that I haven't faced before. The good thing is I got people like Gordy Casper, who's going to be sitting next to me. I've got assistants that I've got a great relationship with that'll help me out throughout this process. So it's definitely exciting for me.
You're going to be sitting by Gordy Casper a lot. Me and you got to talk sometime, okay, Brett?
We do. We definitely do.
That's good. You know, when you look at it, you know, sometimes when a coach leaves, they leave the cupboard bare. Not for you. You got the Nick 10 Player of the Year coming back, Zach Cooper. You got a freshman team that Gordy worked with last year that had all kinds of kids coming back. And then I read on your Facebook page, you had 2 freshman teams going at the same time this year that were very competitive. So the cupboard's not bare. It's just for you to kind of orchestrate what you need to do this year, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's implementing our system and kind of beliefs on how I want to play in terms of style. But, you know, having that relationship with Zach, who's going to be our leader this year, the Nick 10 Player of the Year last year. You know, I coached him when he was a freshman. We pulled him up to the sophomore team. So having that relationship already in place really helps me in terms of sliding over that 6 inches to the new seat. But you're right. Gordy had that freshman group really going last year. They were 23-2, just had a fabulous season. And then we look at our numbers this year for freshman camp, and we had 36 kids trying to become a Titan basketball player. So the cupboard certainly is not bare, and it's certainly a great situation for me to step into, and an excited position as well.
You know, I saw Zach Cooper play a couple times. You know, you look at him, if he's on a lot of different teams, he's probably scoring 30 points a game, 10 assists, all kinds of stuff. But he understood the situation last year. You guys really had three good seniors, a nice bench and stuff. And that's important for a good leader, isn't it, to understand what his role is on the team?
It is, and I think one of the special things about Zach is so aware of his surroundings and so aware of trying to become a better, not just a better player on the floor, but a better person off the floor and a better teammate. And that's one thing Gordy and I have really noticed going through our shootouts this summer. We played about 30 games total, and Zach is just so in tune to trying to constantly help his teammates be a better person off the floor and be a leader for our program, because he knows now he's a senior. He wants to leave his mark not only as a great player, but as a great person on this program for many years to come.
And I know he just got his first D1 offer from Chicago State, you know, playing for his summer league team and stuff. Do you think that's going to be something that he's going to have to kind of put to the side or make a decision on early to keep his head into the season? Because sometimes that gets to be worse than, having a blind date with the homecoming queen, you know?
Yes, I will say Zach is, I've been coaching for 9 years now. Zach is probably the most mentally tough kid that I've ever coached or been around. So certainly it's on his mind constantly. But Zach's one where he's just going to simply get in the gym and continue to work. And, when the right school comes around, I think he'll make that decision. And he's got such a strong support system in his family. And, us coaches are behind him at Boylan. So when that time comes to make that decision, I think he'll make the right one.
He's not going to drive the team bus on away games this year because I think he does everything else. So, I hate to brag him up, but he's just so fun to watch.
He is, and he's great to coach. He's a great person to be around as well, which makes it even better.
You lost three seniors that were a big part of that team, but you got plenty of kids to fill in. Plus, you had your sophomore team was awesome this year. Can you tell us about some of the kids that you might be counting on this year to kind of be around Zach?
Yes, definitely. We've got a strong senior class that's going to lead us this year. Guys like Max Farson and Angelo Seminario and Reed Roulette, Anthony Foreman, who
I like him.
Started a lot of games for that really strong team last year. Kevin Deemer, Ronan Jansen. Definitely, it's Zach's leading us, but there's guys behind him that are really special talents as well that we're excited to coach this year. And you're right, that sophomore group we had last year was strong. There'll be some pieces that will contribute to this team in kind of different roles. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to put all the pieces together moving forward.
I think it was against East. I saw one of your sophomore guards in there and hit like 7 or 8 3-pointers. I mean, the kid couldn't miss, and I don't even think he started for you. But, I mean, you got that problem, don't you? You got so many kids that there's only so many ones that you can play at the same time.
We do. It's definitely, we're trying to kind of put together a culture of competitiveness because there's so many players that can play. One of the things we stress is, it's great to be, good and skilled and strong on the floor, but that there's so many other intangibles that we're trying to grow here at Boylan, and you've got to check those off your list if you're going to want to fight to get time with so many really good basketball players in our program. So from the standpoint of the players, I can see where, hey, everywhere you look, there's talented kids all around you, but at the same time, that's ultimately going to make you stronger as a player and a person when you've got to constantly be in that competitive environment.
We're talking with Boylan's new basketball coach, Brett McAllister, and I bet you got that smile on your face about all day long, don't you? I mean, with the situation you have, your first job, it's got to make you want to smile all day long.
It does, and the really neat thing is I've got coaches with me that I've got such a strong relationship with, and we're just so excited to move forward in this process. Guys like Andy Benstrom, who's been with me as my assistant the last 3 years. he gets to move up and become the sophomore coach. He's been teaching at Boylan for 5 years, so he's so excited to move into that role. And guys like Michael Wedwick, who's been teaching at Boylan for several years and is a Boylan guy, he's going to be assisting Andy. Guys like Gordy. Gordy's just so excited to continue to be a part of the Boylan program. He coached with Steve and he coached with Mike, and now he gets to continue. And also, he's really excited to coach the group of freshmen that he coached last year in a couple of years. So there's no doubt that smile is always on my face. You know, it's been a dream of mine to lead my own program, and to be able to do it and start with a program like Boylan's makes it that much more special.
You know, this year during the East Summer League, there was only one team I didn't get to see from the Nick 10 because you guys weren't there. Tell us what you did this summer for Summer League stuff.
We were in several different shootouts. Our last one was a Crystal Lake South shootout. We also played in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. We went to Lake Zurich for a few games. So we were kind of spread out doing different shootouts and trying to get exposed to different teams kind of outside the Nick 10. So played about 30 games, as I mentioned. And we've got high numbers at the varsity level as well. So it was really interesting to see the different players trying to compete for spots. Obviously, they saw our success last year, so these kids really want to be a part of it moving forward. So it was great to see the different skill sets of these kids.
Before I let you go, you know, Gordy Casper is a dance dad. You know, he goes with his girls to all these dance things. Has he tried to teach you any of those moves yet, Coach?
He does not show me any of those moves. We'll try to bring that out of him as we move forward here, but he definitely keeps that stuff behind closed doors.
Yeah, I know, because he wears a tutu all the time, so you got to be careful with Gordy.
Yeah, we don't get to see that around Boylan, though.
But yeah, does he talk to you about Hoosiers too? That's another. We're both big Hoosiers fans. He got to go to the gym, I think, last week. So
yes, he did, and he was excited about that. He sent me a picture and got that picture on Facebook. So that was really neat.
Yeah,
he's definitely a huge Hoosiers fan.
Well, you're in good hands with Gordy. He's one of my all-time favorites. So, hey, Coach, congratulations on the job. Thanks for taking a break from your vacation to talk to us. And we'll look forward. If I'm coaching against Boylan, I'm kind of shaking already. So good luck to you, and thanks so much for being on today.
And thanks so much for having me, Dave. And again, thanks for all you do for local sports. You shine a great light on the Stateline and for high school athletes. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you letting me come on to talk about how special a place Boylan is. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Coach. We've been talking to Boylan head basketball coach Brett McAllister. Man, if you're going to be a high school coach, that's the place to be. He's got so many kids. He may have 3 teams this year he could probably play, make it the Nick 13 or something.